Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Molina Asthana, and I am the National President of the Asian Australian Lawyers Association. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands on which we are all meeting. And for me, it is the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. And I would like to pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging, and to any other elders who may be joining us today. And we commit to seeking ongoing opportunities for friendship and partnership. Let us gather today in a spirit of co-responsibility, openness, and harmony. If you would also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands from which you are joining us today, you're most welcome to type that in the chat box along with your introduction. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you to the third edition of the National Summit. We started this flagship initiative during the pandemic and trialed out the online platform, which enabled us to get speakers from and reach out to audiences across the country and overseas. Building on the success of the last 2 years, we decided to deliver the summit online again this year, but for the first time, we have the summit running over 2 days, today being the second day. And a few of our branches hosted in-person dinners yesterday evening, which some of you were hopefully able to attend. I attended the one in Melbourne, and it was a great night of good food, great conversations, and lasting friendships. It is these connections that make AALA a unique organization. When I came to Australia 18 years ago, and after having completed my Masters of Law degree at Melbourne Law School, I set about finding a role in the legal sector. I was told that my Indian qualifications and experience were not worth much, and that I should look for a job in a suburban firm. With my perseverance, when I did finally manage to get a role at a top tier, I was often excluded from clubs and cliques. And when you did join, you were expected to talk footy and know all about the TV shows others watched or the private schools they went to. My mistakes were picked up more than those of my Anglo colleagues, and I had to work doubly hard to prove myself. This takes a toll on your mental health, and I started suffering from clinically diagnosed anxiety. This experience is not unique to me, but is shared by many of similar backgrounds as mine. I did not have a support network. I didn't know that others faced similar barriers to progression as I did. I did not have any mentors from a similar background or networking opportunities with peers. That is why, when I met the founding members of the newly formed AALA in 2013, and they asked me to join the AALA executive, I jumped at that opportunity. If only I had this network when I entered the legal profession in Australia, I may have had a completely different experience. For those who are not familiar with AALA, we are the first incorporated association in Australia to focus on the growing number of Asian Australian lawyers in the profession. At our core, AALA is fundamentally committed to promoting cultural diversity in the law. Our work and advocacy is guided by our objectives and the voices of our members. The objectives of AALA include promoting and facilitating Asian cultural diversity in the senior ranks of the legal profession, bringing together members of the legal profession of Asian heritage and cultural backgrounds and others with an interest in Asia, providing a cohesive professional network to advocate for and provide support to our members and to benefit from shared learning and experience, and developing links with Asian legal associations and facilitating and promoting access for members to Asian legal markets. In terms of our structure, we have a national executive and branches with executives in all Australian states and territories. We have over 1,300 members and over 3,500 subscribers of our newsletter and other updates. We welcome members from all walks of legal life, including law students, lawyers and principals from small, medium, and large firms, barristers, in-house counsel, and government lawyers. AALA is proud that our membership embodies a cross-section of the rich intersectional diversity of the Australian legal profession, given that we advocate for a legal profession that is representative of the communities it serves. This year's theme, Many Cultures, One Voice, is reflective of that rich diversity of our membership that is bound together by common values of access to justice, equality before law, and the supremacy of the rule of law. The theme also highlights the benefit of amplifying our voices as a collective and gaining from shared experiences. You heard yesterday and will continue to hear today from a number of illustrious speakers from the legal profession and beyond, and for the first time from our student members on topical issues as well as new developments in the areas of diversity and law. Details are in the summit program that is available on the summit platform. The National Summit is a culmination of our work in the last year and some of the projects that we have been working on that I'll speak to now. Minister Andrew Giles yesterday in his speech highlighted the importance of measuring diversity. That is a priority for us because we want to ensure that our advocacy is evidence-based. Our cultural diversity report from 2015 demonstrated the lack of diversity in the legal profession, in superior and intermediate courts, law firm partnerships, barrister chambers, and association boards in Australia. The report found that only 3.1% of the partners in law firms, 1.6% of barristers, and 0.8% of the judiciary were of Asian Australian background. We are now looking to refresh that report. We want to understand if there has been any progress in this regard, and if so, to what extent. Further, the report analyzed quantitative data only, but we also want to collect qualitative data so that we can understand the reasons for that lack of diversity and suggest measures to remove those barriers at an individual, organizational, and institutional level. The New South Wales branch has run a pilot project to collect data on cultural diversity through the AALA New South Wales Cultural Diversity Focus Groups and Survey Project. The project is being run by a special joint cultural diversity focus groups project subcommittee, which consists of representatives of key organizations external to AALA that have been consulted and engaged, and an internal AALA New South Wales branch working group. The outcomes report of that project will be released soon and will serve the basis of a larger project, including potentially at the national level. Our other significant national project has been the release of the issues paper, Culturally and Linguistically Diverse Parties in Australian Courts, Insights from New Zealand. This issues paper, contextualized for Australia, is based on the CALD report of the Super Diversity Institute in New Zealand entitled Culturally and Linguistically Diverse Parties in the Court, a Chinese Case Study, authored by Mai Chen and published in November 2019. The CALD issues paper seeks to identify the barriers faced by CALD parties that disrupt their access to justice and suggests ways of addressing them. It has been co-authored by Mai Chen and Professor Andrew Godwin and is in partnership with Melbourne Law School and the Super Diversity Institute, New Zealand. You will hear more about the paper and its application in the Australian context in our third panel discussion today, which features both the co-authors and Honourable Justice Emilios Hiru and Honourable Justice Helen Wood. We have also been strong in our advocacy and have published a number of press statements this year on diversity in the legal profession, access to justice, and issues impacting our diverse communities. We have also been interviewed for several news stories by Lawyers Weekly, SBS News, and ABC. Former Chief Justice of the Family Court of Australia and our national patron, Honourable Diana Bryant, AOKC, mentioned yesterday in her speech the new government's commitment for a transparent process of judicial appointment through the setting up of selection panels. We have been advocating for greater diversity in the judiciary and are heartened by the Australian Law Reform Commission's recent report, Without Fear of Favour, Judicial Impartiality and the Law on Bias. AALA made a submission to the inquiry into the laws relating to judicial impartiality and bias as they apply to the federal judiciary, highlighting the lack of cultural diversity within the judiciary and the senior ranks of the legal profession. AALA has also noted the importance of education and training in reducing unconscious cultural bias when appearing in court. These submissions have been extensively referred to in the report. We have also had very positive conversations with the Federal Attorney General Honourable Mark Dreyfus and the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Victoria, Honourable Justice Anne Ferguson. In August, Justice Ferguson said a lack of diversity could damage the community's faith in the legal system. Her words in a news report were, "It doesn't mean you need to have someone who's of the same cultural or ethnic background as you, but you do need to see that range of views and that range of experience," she said in an interview with the Victorian Law Foundation. We know that organizations that have a diverse workforce do better. The people within them do better, and the people they engage with do better. So why wouldn't we apply that to the justice system? It would be fantastic to reflect the diversity of our community. Our national initiatives are important, but it is really the work of our branches that makes us a thriving and vibrant organization. Some of our branches did it really tough during the pandemic, but have bounced back with vigor, holding interesting events and running meaningful initiatives. I want to thank each one of the branch committees for their work in the past couple of years to support our membership and to create greater visibility for the organization. You will hear from each branch at the end of the day, so please do stay around for that. It would be remiss of me not to mention the tireless efforts of our National Summit Subcommittee. The work for the summit started early this year, and the efforts were really ramped up in the last couple of months. Nothing is possible without a great team and effective teamwork. And I'm very proud of our National Summit Subcommittee that has worked hard all these months to bring us this great program today. We would also like to thank our summit partners, platinum sponsors, Melbourne Law School, Piper Alderman, gold sponsors, Dragoman, Landon Rogers, Law Institute of Victoria, TIMG, Victorian Bar, silver sponsors, Baker McKenzie, Maddocks, the Law Society of South Australia. I hope that you're able to join us for the rest of the day. However, if you can, for any reason you cannot, you will have access to the summit content for another 12 years, and we will also be uploading the videos on YouTube. You may also be able to use this for CPD purposes. However, check with your jurisdiction, and we will also issue you with a certificate of attendance. If you are not already a member, you can become a member by clicking on the register as AALA member icon in the panel on the left. There's also a post-event survey which you can complete by scanning a QR code. You can also join us for a Zoom call later after the summit to have an informal chat with the rest of us. Before I finish, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker, who you will hear from next. Our keynote speaker is Honorable Justice N.V. Ramana. His Honor is the former Chief Justice of India and retired in August this year. When we extended this invitation to speak, he was still the Chief Justice. And to be able to secure him as a speaker is quite a coup, as those who have practiced in the Indian jurisdiction would know. We are thankful to one of our team members, Ahalya, for securing his honor as a speaker while she was interning with him in India. Before being appointed to the Supreme Court, he held the positions of Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court and the Chief Justice of the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Born in an agrarian family in Punavan village of the state of Andhra Pradesh, he became the first lawyer in his family. He has also been a long-standing advocate for transparency in the judicial proceedings and the implementation of the justice delivery system in regional languages. So I hope you enjoy his address as well. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit.